Jesus is talking to the Pharisees. The Pharisees are having an issue with what's happened in the miracle of the man born blind. And Jesus and the Pharisees begin to have a confrontation in John chapter 9, verse 35. Jesus heard they cast him out. When they found him, he said to him, "Do you believe in the Son of God?" And the man born blind said, "Who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him?" Isn't it amazing that a man who was not a believer was healed of blindness? Have you ever thought about that? He doesn't even know if it's Jesus. He doesn't even know if he's a believer. He says, "If you'll tell me who he is, I'll believe in him." That's amazing to me. And Jesus said, "You've both seen him, and it is he who is talking with you." And he said, "Lord, I believe." And he worshiped him. Now watch this. And Jesus said, "For judgment I have come into this world, that those who do not see may see, and that those who see may be made blind." If you want more info on that particular verse, this is a shameless plug and it doesn't cost you anything. I believe I do have product out there and we do have prices on it, but don't let price stop you. If you see something on that table and you don't have money, I want you to take it, because the gospel is so powerful and so great. It's not near as important to me that we get a monetary value out of it as it is that you get the value out of it. And so if you need it, take it. But I don't give a shameless plug. I did a sermon. It's on our website. It's free to watch. It's free to listen to. It's free to download, called "That Those Who See May Be Made Blind." I preached that a few weeks ago in Canada. And if you want a full expose of this passage, go watch that, all right? I don't want to go preach that little sidebar. I want to, but I don't think we have time. So go watch that. So I don't want to deal with the back half of that verse. I know it's questionable, the back half of that verse. We deal with it in that sermon. What I do want to deal with is the front half of that verse. Jesus said, "For judgment I've come into this world." Now what we found in John 5 is Jesus said, or John 8, "I'm not going to judge anybody." And then he turns around one chapter later and says, "For judgment I've come into this world." So which one is it? Is Jesus confused? Is he learning as he goes? No. This is a situation where a translation hurts us pretty bad, because the Greek word that is used, that the translators used for "for," they say in verse number 39, and this is worth underlining and writing down. They use the word, "For judgment I've come into this world." But the same Greek word shows up twice in the Greek. And it's the Greek word spelled E-I-S. Some call it ice, some call it ace, doesn't matter. But E-I-S means into. Jesus says, "For judgment I've come into the world." The word appears right there at "into." But did you know it also appears at the word "for"? The word "for judgment have I come into the world" is the Greek word "into judgment have I come into the world." What Jesus is telling you is not that I came to judge, but that I came to come into judgment. My whole reasoning for being here is to be judged. Now listen, we don't have a problem with that if we'll just say it the traditional way. You want to know what the traditional way is? "And John looked up on the horizon and saw the man and said, Behold, the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world." We love that verse. What is it about that verse we love? We go, well, he's here to take away sin. But what we're missing is, what happens to lambs? They get slaughtered. So when John says, "Behold the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the whole world," what was John saying about Jesus? He come to be slaughtered. Behold, he come to be slaughtered. Jesus agrees with him in John 9 and says, "Into judgment have I come into this world." I exist to be crucified. This is why when Jesus heals people, have you ever wondered about this? He'll heal someone and he'll call them off to the side and he'll say, "Don't tell anybody." He's the worst. He's the worst in the Bible at building a ministry. Because if you build a ministry, you want everybody to go tell everybody about your ministry. And Jesus was telling everybody, "Don't tell anybody about my ministry. Don't tell a soul that I hit." Why was Jesus always saying don't tell? Because he came to be judged. He came to be a lamb that was going to be slaughtered. So Jesus says, "Into judgment have I come into the world."